Have you ever wondered why large airliners store their fuel inside the wings? At first glance, it seems completely backward. Wouldn't it make more sense to store all that fuel inside the fuselage? There would be more space, better protection, and a structure that appears much stronger. But in aviation, decisions aren't based on intuition, they're based on engineering. And storing fuel in the wings is one of the smartest design choices ever made. Welcome to Zero Turbulence, the channel where we answer the aviation questions everyone wonders about, but nobody dares to ask. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Fasten your seatbelt and let's take off together. When people explain this design choice, the usual answers are fairly simple. The fuselage is already filled with passengers, cargo, and aircraft systems, so the unused space inside the wings becomes the perfect place for fuel. Those explanations are true, but they don't reveal the real reason. If it were only about saving space, engineers could store fuel almost anywhere, in the lower fuselage, near the tail, or spread across several tanks throughout the aircraft. But they don't. The real question isn't where the fuel fits, it's how its location affects the aircraft's stability, control, and efficiency during flight. We're talking about distributing tens of thousands of pounds of weight inside a flying machine. Suddenly, the problem becomes completely different. It isn't about available space anymore. It's about placing that weight where it has the smallest possible impact on the airplane's balance. To understand why, we need to look at one of the most important concepts in aviation, the center of gravity. If the center of gravity moves too far forward, the airplane requires greater control forces to maintain level flight. If it shifts too far aft, the aircraft becomes less stable and much more sensitive to disturbances. In both cases, fuel consumption increases and handling becomes less efficient. The challenge is that fuel is constantly being burned, meaning the airplane's weight distribution changes throughout the flight. That's why engineers place the fuel where burning it has the least possible effect on the aircraft's center of gravity, and that location happens to be the wings. Because they're located close to where lift is generated and near the aircraft's acceptable center of gravity range, the wings allow the airplane to remain stable, predictable, and efficient from takeoff to landing. But that's only part of the story. From the outside, an aircraft wing looks thin, almost empty. In reality, it's an incredibly complex structure made of spars, ribs, and reinforced components that give it both strength and its aerodynamic shape. Between those structural elements lies a surprisingly large amount of internal space. That space already exists as part of the wing's structure. Engineers don't need to create extra tanks, they simply seal the wing itself. The fuselage, on the other hand, is the most valuable real estate on the entire airplane. Every cubic foot inside it can be sold as passenger seating or cargo space. Using that valuable volume to carry fuel would directly reduce the aircraft's earning potential. The wings don't have that problem. That's why modern airliners use what's known as a wet wing design. Instead of installing separate fuel tanks, the wing itself becomes the sealed fuel tank, divided into multiple compartments designed to prevent fuel from sloshing violently during flight. There's another major structural advantage. While flying, the wings experience enormous loads. Lift pulls upward across the entire wingspan, while the weight of the fuselage, passengers, and cargo pulls downward through the center of the airplane. The wing behaves like a giant cantilever beam trying to bend upward. If the wings were empty, the stress at the wing root would be significantly higher. But with fuel distributed throughout the wings, that weight acts as a counterbalance to lift. The wings flex less. Structural loads are reduced. Material fatigue decreases over time. In other words, fuel isn't just stored energy. It's actually part of the airplane's structural design. Take the Boeing 737 as an example. It has 3 primary fuel tanks, one inside each wing and one center tank located inside the wing box. On most short and medium haul flights, the airplane usually operates using only the wing tanks. The center tank is used only when additional fuel is required. And whenever it's used, it's emptied first. Why? Because fuel stored in the center tank concentrates more weight closer to the fuselage. Engineers want to eliminate that extra load as early as possible, returning the aircraft to its most efficient configuration with most of the fuel stored inside the wings. Aircraft are typically refueled through a fueling panel located beneath one of the wings. Fuel is pumped into the wing tanks first, then into the center tank if additional capacity is needed. The fuel itself is Jet A or Jet A1, a highly refined kerosene specially formulated to remain fluid at extremely low temperatures, resist crystallization, and provide reliable engine performance under a wide range of operating conditions. Modern fuel systems are designed with multiple layers of redundancy. Each tank contains several fuel pumps. Backup feeding systems are available if necessary, and the tanks incorporate technologies that reduce the risk of fuel vapor ignition. Finally, there are situations where an airplane may need to dump fuel in flight. The maximum landing weight of an aircraft is always lower than its maximum takeoff weight. If an aircraft has to return shortly after departure because of an emergency, it may simply be too heavy to land safely. Some long-haul aircraft are equipped with fuel jettison systems. Fuel is released through nozzles near the wings, where it's dispersed into tiny droplets that evaporate rapidly before reaching the ground. It's a rare, carefully controlled procedure performed at high altitude and only in designated airspace to minimize environmental impact. One of the things that makes aviation so fascinating is that its most important systems are often the ones passengers never see. Fuel stored inside the wings, weight distribution, structural balance, all of it works quietly behind the scenes, shaping the way the airplane behaves every second it's in the air. These incredible machines may seem to defy common sense, but in reality, they're the result of thousands of precise engineering decisions designed to make every force work together perfectly. Before you go, let me ask you this. Did you learn something new today? Let me know in the comments what surprised you the most. And if you have an aviation question, leave it below. It might become the topic of our next video. If you enjoyed this video, a quick like only takes a second and really helps the channel grow. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time so you never miss another takeoff. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon on Zero Turbulence.